Konnichiwa, welcome back. Pickups. Yes, more pickups. These are from months and months ago, in the most part. But, you know, I'm still battling through pickups. Anyway, quite a bit to get to. Some nice stuff here, I would say. And it's proper retro, in my opinion. Right. I think we'll start off with some VHS. And the VHS bug has got me again, in a way. But I'm really limiting myself this time. And I'm only buying 80s classics. Because I do think 80s films in particular, it's their natural home in it, VHS. And so, I don't know, it feels a good fit, and the nostalgia is there for 80s VHS. Anyway, we picked up The Running Man. Obviously Arnie. Classic. I'm in the process of watching this at the moment. Haven't seen it in 20 odd years, I bet. It's still alright though. So that's The Running Man. And then, all-time classic for me. I need to swap the boxes on this. This box is battered, but I have got some spares. Love this film. Smokey and the Bandies. Awesome. Just mega. I mean, I love this at the time because, you know, there's lots of car chases and, you know, me being a racing nut, this was bang up my street. But what a quality film. Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds, Buford T. Justice. Oh man. Awesome. Mega. There's obviously sequels. Now this, I've been after this for some time, and it never seems to be either the right case, or it seems to be battered, or the tape's mouldy, or it's too expensive. But anyway, I finally found a Robocop, and a proper original one in the black case. Just the cover art on that's just mega, in it. That's so nostalgic. There's nothing more 80s really than Robocop, and that you know, and it's still a good film as well. So absolutely chuffed to get Robocop back. And like I say, I'm looking for a few more 80s classics. Right, that's all the VHS. Next up, we'll do a couple of Famicom. This is like a black box classic game, you know, the stuff that's expensive on NES. But anyway, we've got Clueland. Nice orange cart on the Famicom. Bit of a strange game this, I've got to say. It's kind of a single screen. I wouldn't call it a puzzle game, but you've kind of got to pass through all the areas of the screen to open up a pattern in coins while avoiding the enemies. But it's kind of got weird controls. I think if I could get used to it, this would be really good, but sort of, when you first play it, it is a bit awkward, I find. But it's nice to have. And I'm glad I'm not trying to buy the black box version, because I'm sure that's expensive. This next one came about through my new obsession with Mappy, and I found out there was a sequel on the Famicom, Mappy Land, so I had to buy it, as it's Famicom exclusive. I think it was made for the Famicom, and there's no arcade version of this. And it is like Mappy, but it's more like a traditional platform game with Mappy style gameplay, whereas you've got to get from the left to the right while doing the kind of things you do in Mappy. It's not as good as Mappy, but it is a good game, and I'm looking forward to playing a bit more of this. It is a nice addition, I would say, to anybody who likes Mappy. You might want to check that out. I'll hopefully have put some footage up for them. Now we'll do some Atari. There's not much, so you non-Atari lovers, don't panic. There's only 3, I think, today. First one is a cart only one, another Activision game, and we got skiing. yet another good Activision game, I've got to say. Now this, basically, if you like Horace Goes Skiing, this basically is the skiing section from Horace Goes Skiing. It's more or less the same game. So, for me, that's the best part of Horace Goes Skiing. I'm not so bothered about the getting the skis and the Frogger section. It was always about the skiing for me. And so this, another class Atari Activision game, got to say. Right, next up, we've got another sexy box, and it's another iMagic release. This time we've got Atlantis. Now this is another game that crops up on a lot of sort of best, like top 50 whatever Atari 2600 games, and it is a good game, I've got to say. Kind of like Missile Command in a way. You've got these bases that shoot out missiles at the projectiles above, and the enemies above, I should say, and then they're firing down at you and can crash into your sort of gun stations, and then obviously they wipe you out eventually if you don't shoot them down fast enough. Really, really good, but more to the point, check out the sexy box. Honestly, just love these iMagic boxes. They are stunning. So chuffed to add that one to the ever-growing Atari collection. Currently up to about 90 games now for it. Loads more pickups to come, honestly. I've gone Atari mad. Last Atari game for today. Now this one, more often than not, is number one in all these top 50 videos, top 20 videos. This usually is number one in most of them, or its sequel. And we got Pitfall. One of the most famous games on the Atari, I'd say. And since the Plus has come out, this one's gone not cheap to buy, unfortunately. Probably because a lot of people had it, I'm guessing, and they want to play it again. Plus the fact it's a good game as well, which it is a good game, I've got to say. I'm not sure it'd be my number one on the Atari, but it's certainly really good. I really do want the sequel, but that's even more money, unfortunately. And Jay just picked it up in his last video. I was really quite envious of that one. I'm not so bothered about getting it complete, I just like the cart really, but nevertheless I'm chuffed to have Pitfall because it is a really good platform adventure style game. You know, and again, another great Activision game on the 2600. Right, now all this next stuff is all a bundle of stuff I bought off the legend that is Craig quite a few months ago now, so just getting round to showing it. And like I say, there's some nice stuff here in my opinion. So we'll get cracking. First up, these are Super Famicom to start with. Nothing major here, but it's a classic. And we've got Space Invaders. Now there's no bells and whistles on this really, it's the original Space Invaders and nothing else. So, you know, there's nothing fancy about it, but it's an all-time classic in it, and obviously it's a fairly cheap game, so I thought, you know, you need Space Invaders, don't you, if it's available. It's a cheap price, and so I grabbed it. But it's nice to experience just, you know, how the original Space Invaders game played back in the day. I mean, it's seminal, isn't it? You know, it's one of the granddaddies of video games. If it weren't for this, we might not all be sitting here now. Right, next up, now this is a belting game, I've got to say. And it's a major title. And it's a golf game, yes I know, but honestly, this is a real good golf game. If you like Turf Masters on the Neo Geo, this is much the same. You don't seem to hear this mentioned at all or talked about, and it's a chuffing good game. And you can get it PAL. I don't know how much it is. I've already got this American, which I've had for years and years, and weirdly the American version is known by a different name, which is Iron Skins, but for some reason the PAL version is called Major Title like the Japanese version. I'm not sure there's that many instances of the American changing the name and then the PAL version using the Japanese name. I can't think of another one, but there probably are. But nevertheless, belting good golf game. Like I say, it's really similar to Turf Masters. I'm not saying it's better than Turf Masters, because that's probably the best golf game ever made, but nevertheless, that is a cracking game. You'd call this one a bit of a classic, I think. Now this is an upgrade. I had this cart only, so I'm on this mission to try and upgrade my SNES cart onlys into completing box. So chuffed to get Axley, Konami shooter, obviously. It's a great looking game, I've got to say. The sort of how this looked at the time, I remember playing this, you know, when it came out on the SNES, and graphically it was mega. I never got on with it that well, to be honest, and I'm still absolute crap at it, but I'm chuffed to add it back into the collection, or upgrade it I should say, to a nice boxed example. These next two are the same as well. These are upgrades from cart onlys. So again, I've been able to sell my cart only to offset the cost of some of these. Had this one back in the day. It's a one-on-one fighter by Jalico, Dead Dance. I don't think this came out PAL, but it did come out American, which is called Tough Enough. And I think I had Tough Enough back in the day. I think. But anyway, at the time, back in the day, I thought this was really, really good. And I don't think it's aged that badly. I mean, it's not Street Fighter, don't get me wrong, but it's not a bad one-on-one fighter, if you like that kind of thing. So I'm chuffed to upgrade that one as well. Then the last of the Super Famicom games. Now this is an absolute classic. Again, I had this cart only, but I had the American version, so I sold that when I got Final Fight for the Super Famicom. I mean, stone cold classic, great SNES game, great game, whatever, but still a SNES game. Some people like the Mega CD version better, don't they? And Streets of Rage was obviously copied off this. I do prefer Streets of Rage, if I'm honest, but nevertheless, Final Fight is still mega. And that's also nice because I'd already got Final Fight 2, so that looks quite nice on the shelf next to Final Fight 2 as well. I'm not bothered about collecting the others because that's too much money for me. I'm not buying. Right. Next up, we've got, where should we go? Yeah, we'll go PS1. Now these are kind of sort of a small subset, if you like, in their own right, and it's the Capcom Generations collection sets. But there's the standard sets, and then there are these, and they come in like a book form. These are super nice. I've always admired these, and then when Craig was selling them, I thought I need them in my life. And there are 5 volumes, and it's like I say, it's like a book, and you've got the game in the back, and then the book, I suppose you would say, is the manual, but it's like a book, and it's kind of, it's bigger than a Super Famicom box. It's a fair size book. So yeah, absolutely chuffed to add these. Real quirky. There's a few of these. You can get a few of these. I think there's a Mega Man one. Not I'm bothered, but I'm just saying there are others. But you got Volume 1, which is 1942. 1943 and 1943 Kai, I think it is. So, you know, that's a mega collection. And then again, we've got Volume 2, which again is another fantastic collection, because you've got Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, I think it is. Exactly the same, you know, they're all the same. Disc in the back with a, you know, the book manual. Awesome games. Then possibly the worst of the volumes, you've got Volume 3, which are old kind of earlier arcade titles. You got Vulgar's Sun Sun, Higemaru and X-Dexes. Now that pirate ship Higemaru, as I remember, was my favourite one of these. Vulgar's is a vertical shooter, isn't it? And I think X-Dexes was. I would say that's probably the weakest entry in the volumes. This one's another belter. We've got Volume 4. Now this is Commando, Mercs and Gunsmoke. I mean, 3 fantastic games. In particular, I would say Gunsmoke is a mega. It's so difficult, but it's a mega game, honestly. Chuffed to add this into the collection. I don't think it shows. Well, I'm sure you've seen Gunsmoke before. Hopefully there's some footage up. But maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, another belting volume. I haven't got Volume 5 yet. That's on my list, which is a collection of Street Fighter games. But like I say, and they sit nice on the shelf, because you know, they look like books, and each one obviously is a different colour. So I'm going to add the Volume 5 Street Fighter one, so it's the full set. Right. Next up, we've got some PS2. Now this is another cool subset, I've got to say. I'm not going to buy them all, but there are a few of these I'm trying to track down. And we've got the Oroteki collection of games, which is a Japanese exclusive kind of releases of classic arcade games on the PS2. And the vast majority come in these wicked sort of multicoloured pink, yellow, green, blue boxes. And they are like direct sort of arcade ports of the games. There's no sort of bells and whistles options. It's the arcade game basically. This first one I've got is Sonic Wings, which is a vertical shooter. Like I say, that majority are in this style box, so they kind of all look the same, but the screen on the box is different. And they're really cool, these, because they come with extras. They come with like a card, and this is actually sealed, so but there's 2 mini discs inside there plus the manual. Yeah, they're real nice sets. I think there's about 20 of these altogether, but I don't want them all. Like, you know, there's about 10 I want. So anyway, that's Sonic Wings. And then the other one of those I got off Craig was Scramble. I'm sure you know what Scramble is. Really early sort of scrolling shooter. And the LCD tabletop game based, you know, version of it. Like I said, they're lovely collectibles, these are. So I was chuffed to get that. So I've now got 3 of these, because I've also got Time Pilot. And like I said, there's about another 5 or 6 of these I'd like to track down. So they're kind of on my hit list of things to acquire shortly. Right, last game in this bundle I got off Craig. N64, Japanese. The only shooter or shmup you can get on the N64. And it's Star Soldier Vanishing Earth, is it? Yeah. Nice box. It's weird, you know, when you went from like so many shooters on the like the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo to then only get one on the N64. It's crazy, really. And this never came outside of Japan either. It's not the best shooter in the world, I've got to say. it's kind of mediocre at best, I would say. But I don't think they're working polygons for me. I much prefer a traditional old-fashioned style shooter. But it's mega to have, being as it's the only one, and it's a subset complete. The shmup subset on the N64 is complete because that's the only one. And it is a nice box. And I'm almost there on my N64 collection, if I'm honest. I did have a shed load of it, and I got rid of most of it when I got the EverDrive, and I've just kept a small tasteful collection of Japanese games now. And there's about 3 or 4 I'm still hoping to add, mostly upgrading cart-onlys to completing box, really. But I didn't have this one in any form, so I was chuffed to add that to the small N64 collection. And that'll do for today, I think. I should have said we've got the fantastic Raiden 3 running here on the PS2, and the mighty arcade Hang-On. What a game. But that'll do for today, I think. We've waffled on long enough. Let me know what you think of any of that lot. And like I say, I think it was proper retro. The kind of retro I'm interested in anyway. But let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Sayonara.